In this video, we'll show the actual assembly of the mini tow mixer. By way of quick review, a tow mixer is essentially a giant food processor made from the rear end differential of a used vehicle, rotated 90 degrees upward from its normal position and with lawnmower blades attached. Originally invented by Mike McCain for making fibrous adobe, then improved upon by the likes of Martin Adams from MakePapercrete.com and Mike from MikeandMolly'sHouse.com, where you can find an entire blog post on how to make your own. As mentioned in a previous video, I contracted with some professional demolition derby drivers to weld the platform and the trailer hitch to the axle. Because people always ask, it's officially a 1986 Crown Victoria rear differential, but I'm told that's the same differential used by that manufacturer for more than a decade, so it's not very special. Because these have been laying around in scrapyards, the first thing you need to do is locate the drain plug, remove it, and make sure it's filled properly with 90-weight gear oil. After you get the deck on, this won't be so easy, so do it now. Essentially, the deck has to support your tank. If you're having trouble envisioning this, it might help to take a few pictures. Then use a basic photo editor to sort of sketch up what you're trying to do. I noticed in Martin's video when he cut the hole in the deck, he didn't worry too much about getting a tight fit, because he knew he could get a watertight seal between his two metal surfaces. But I had my doubts about being able to successfully bond the ABS plastic material to the metal differential. I had done multiple tests with several different types of epoxies, including the official ABS cement from my local plumber supply. And various of those would either stick to the metal of the differential or to the ABS plastic, but I couldn't get anything that would stick to both. So I was worried about cutting a hole in the bottom of my mixer that I couldn't make watertight, until it occurred to me that I could use the computer packing foam to make a sort of waterproof gasket around the base. The foam was 3/8 inch, so as long as I kept the hole within 3/8 inches of the metal, the weight of the mixer would hold it down and make it waterproof. Then I could go ahead and put Bondo on top of that, just more or less to make a resistance to the water flow. Once I solved that problem, it was just a matter of how to cut the hole so that it matched within 3/8 inch all the way around the differential. I was able to get a half sheet 4x4 of 3/4 inch plywood decking from the odds and end pieces at Home Depot, which I then trimmed so it would be just barely wider than the barrel itself. The next step was to find the center. I started by drawing multiple lines across the circle to try and figure out where they converge, but I found a better method was to use a yardstick like a protractor and simply make repeated arcs at half the distance, in this case 21 inches, until I found the center. I didn't want the lawnmower blades to make a whirlpool effect in the center of the mixer, so after finding the center, I moved the hole for the differential 4 inches towards the rear of the trailer. I started by cutting a circular hole just big enough for the top of the differential, and then repeatedly trimming out little pieces, sliding the piece of plywood over, and trimming more until I got a pretty nice snug fit all the way around. This took quite a bit of time, and admittedly there's got to be a better way to do it. But in the end, I was pleased with the results. And by putting a piece of paper onto the deck, after I had it cut perfectly, I could trace a template that then I was able to cut out and use as a reverse image for the bottom of the ABS. The only real trick was to try and remember that since I was cutting the bottom of the ABS, I had to reverse the template to make sure it would fit on the deck. With the hole cut in the deck and the ABS barrel, the next question was how to attach it to the frame. Martin Adams had thought far enough ahead to weld bolts to his, which then allowed him to use washers and rubber gaskets and make a watertight seal. I hadn't thought that far ahead when I drew my sketch in the driveway of the demolition derby crew, but it was still a good idea, so I got some bolts and a drill bit that would cut through metal, did some quick calculations about the balance and the location of the bolts, and then proceeded to punch through the angle iron frame. Once I had matching holes in the frame and in the deck, it was pretty much ready to bolt together. Before I bolted it all together, I threw on a quick coat of paint to protect the deck from any excess water spillage, and trimmed the back of the deck so I had a nice rounded edge After it was all assembled with the gasket in place and bolted down, I did what Martin suggested and used Bondo to layer in the top piece. The end result was not as pretty as Martin's, but it did hold water, and that was the point.
In the next segment, we'll show how to install the lawnmower blade, which turned out to fit very nicely on the Crown Vic differential, and discuss the advantages of using 4 blades over 2.
Mike McCain and his original tow mixer, and the inventor of fibrous Adobe, and of course the SBS Demolition Derby crew. Martin Adams at Papercrete.com, Mike from MikeandMolly'sHouse.com,